Moonchild's Cure is the first song off their 2017 album Voyager. It's filled with many lush harmonies, especially in the introduction. The beginning harmonies evolve over several key centers and connect through careful voice leading. You should take a listen to the song if you haven't already. So let's break down that first part of the introduction. The introduction starts with a series of 3 minor 11 chords: F sharp minor 11, B minor 11, and E minor 11. The next chord that follows is an A minor 11, and that's followed by a C sharp 7, sharp 9. This is a C major 13 sharp 11. It comes after the C sharp 7, sharp 9. And then this chord is carried out into a higher octave and a different voicing. This different voicing for C major 13 sharp 11 is a D major chord, second inversion, over a C major 7, third inversion. So that is the first part. It's a little open in terms of timing and rhythm. This second section has a melody leading the chord changes. That next chord is a G2 over B. That leads to a B flat major 7. That leads to an E flat major 7. This melody G leads to an A. There's a brief moment where the chord and the melody is just A. It's just an A note, not an A major chord. And then there's a D major 7 and 2 voicings. Here's a recap of part 2. And by the way, I've included a PDF of a transcription of the introduction, and you will find that link in the description. Now we're moving into some interesting harmonic territory. Now what we're going to do is a 2-5-1 in the key of F sharp, which is not related to the key of D. And it's not related to the key of B flat that came before that. The 2 is a G sharp minor 9. The 5 is a C sharp 13 sus. And that leads up to this chord, F sharp major 7. Actually, F sharp major 9. And then within this chord, the C sharp leads up to a D, to a D sharp, then to an F, and then to an F sharp, which is this chord. So as you can see, that was a beautiful introduction. And by the way, let me know what you thought of this introduction when you first heard it. Well, let's move into the chord changes for the actual song. Now let's do the progression for the interlude and the chorus, which is essentially the same thing. The first chord is a C sharp 13 sus. The next chord is an F sharp major 9. The next chord is a B flat 13 sus, which is basically an A flat major 7 over B flat. The next chord is a C minor 9 or C minor 11. And for sure, the 9 is always on top of that C minor chord. Now let's talk about the verse. It's pretty interesting because it's divided into 2 parts. The first part ends in the key of D, and the second part ends in the key of A. The first part starts with a G sharp minor 9, it goes to a D sharp minor 9, it goes back to a G sharp minor 9, and then back. And then this right here is a pivot. It's actually a dominant. In neo soul, it's very common for the dominant to be of different forms. A typical dominant is a dominant 7 chord, and this would lead to G sharp minor. You can do a flat 9, but in neo soul, it's usually a sus or a add 2 chord inverted. So here's the E flat add 2, right? So here's E flat dominant 7. Here's E flat add 2. E flat add 2. We can invert that to be over G, and that would lead us right up to G sharp, and it leads us back to D sharp minor. Now here's the interesting thing. This D sharp minor goes to an A sus13 chord. Look at this. And how does that work? We go from D sharp minor to the key of D. So D sharp minor, we move the upper voices, which is an F sharp major 7 chord, and it goes up a half step. And we can put an A on the bass, and that's an A sus13 chord, and that's very beautiful. It's very common in neo soul to just lead from where the melody could go. So we have this A sus13 leads to a D major 9 add 6. The next part, we play a G major 9, hold that A constant, and play a C dominant 13 sharp 11. So again, that turnaround. Now the second part of the verse is similar to the first. We still have now instead of this leading up to G sharp minor, it leads us to C sharp 13 sus. And that acts as a 5 to go to the key of F sharp. Remember, the key of F sharp is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the 5 is this. And in neo soul, 5s or dominants are usually 13 sus. And this leads us to the 1, a major 9 chord, an F sharp major 9 chord. Remember how the end of the first part of the verse goes like this? We still carry that melody over for the second part of the verse, but instead of playing an A sus13 below that F sharp, we actually play another sus13 chord below that F sharp, and that is an E sus13. And this takes us to A major 9 seamlessly. This leads us to F minor 7, D major 9, add 6, and then we finish with a G 13 sharp 11. So as you were able to see, these are some very beautiful harmonies and turnarounds that are sometimes subtle and not easy to pick out and understand where they go to. In neo soul, chords oftentimes lead by voice leading and not so much in the classical functional sense. This is my new channel, and if you're interested in more transcriptions and breakdowns of complex harmony, consider subscribing and liking this video. And don't forget to let me know what you thought of this song introduction the first time you heard it.